I don't like the shit that went down. I don't like guns being pointed to people who I love faces. I thought the man was gonna die that night. What that video don't show is what led up to the officer pulling the firearm out. The official statement on what led up to the officer pulling the firearm out is the total opposite of what happened.
Illegal search.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
But let's get on with this. I watched Bud Crawford's parade. Saw Shakur Stevenson, saw Bernie, Bomac, and everyone else who contributed to celebrating not just Bud's win over Canelo, but his career. So, leaving the Steelhouse Bar, North Omaha, Nebraska, not too far, I'm sure, from Terrence Bud Crawford Street. Yes, the man had a street named after him. So, Bud is driving. They're pulled over. The cop comes to the bodyguard's window, and another one goes to Bud's window. Bud is accused of speeding. Bud asks the officer, "How do you know I'm speeding unless you have radar?" The cop admits he didn't have radar. This is on camera. Now the video I'm watching, the video cuts and it jumps. So I don't believe I'm hearing everything Kasim had to say. So I don't know at which point of the dialogue between Bud and the officer why Bud said he has a firearm as well. This seemed to trigger the officer. Everyone had to get out of the car. Guns were pulled on Bud, Kasim, and Malachi. The police didn't see a firearm on Bud, and I believe the camera would prove that to be true. Bud said, "I don't have it on me. The firearm's at home." The bodyguard was legally packed. He does classes, non-profit, in the area, teaching young black men how to react, giving them protocol on what to do when they're stopped in these exact scenarios, because it's not uncommon.
He teaches classes on how black males can survive not getting killed while being pulled over by the police. If you've never been to Omaha, you wouldn't understand.
Footage incredibly shows Crawford in the vehicle before exiting with his hands above his head while the officer had a weapon brandished. The reason cited was for alleged reckless driving, but after a brief standoff with the officers, he was released without charge. How did the local authorities respond to the Terrence Crawford incident? Omaha police first released a brief statement detailing the stop, which read, "While speaking with the driver, an officer observed a firearm on the driver's side floorboard."
Lying.
For safety, all 4 occupants were ordered out of the vehicle at gunpoint. The driver was later identified as Mr. Crawford upon verification of his driver's license and was issued a citation for reckless driving. One passenger, a member of Mr. Crawford's security team, was also found to be carrying a legal firearm. The mayor of Nebraska, John Ewing, has also confirmed an internal investigation will be conducted in a separate statement. The mayor has personally spoke to Terrence Crawford about the traffic stop downtown early this morning. He acknowledges the seriousness of what occurred and how trust between law enforcement and our community is important, and shows the need to be continuously vigilant about building relationships. Omaha Police Chief Todd Schmaderer has pledged an internal investigation, which I support and want to be full and thorough. We will gather all the facts and be transparent with the public about our findings. Understand that my heart dropped in learning of this end to an otherwise wonderful day and evening celebration, our city's world boxing champion. We had a great parade, great event at Heartland of America Park. The evening birthday party at Steelhouse, which I and members of my team attended, was a showing of joy and pride. Omaha needs to remember this important day as a good one while we seek answers to know how it ended. Meanwhile, we must ensure that every resident, no matter who they are, feels safe and respected in Omaha. You know what's sad? Bud's kids spoke on the mic at the parade, and this was supposed to be one of the greatest days of their life. So sad. You know, I'm paraphrasing one of his sons. He actually sounded like Bud. Very mature aura about his speech. And he said, "Enjoy your day, Dad." I feel the officers felt they need to put him down a peg or two. Who does he think he is? All these parades and roads named after him. I'll have to take a poll on this one. They're saying Lennox Lewis misses out as Britain's greatest ever boxer, determined by Hall of Fame. The British Boxing Hall of Fame has determined that Joe Calzaghe is the greatest fighter to hail from British shores. Calzaghe received the accolade after a group of historians and writers conducted a poll of the annual Hall of Fame Awards, held in Hastings, East Sussex, on September 21st. Joe Calzaghe, the pride of Wales, betted the likes of Lennox Lewis and Ken Buchanan to scoop the gong while he was inducted into the British Boxing Hall of Fame on the same night. Joe left the ring with a record of 46-0, no defeats, no draws, super middleweight champion, light heavyweight champion. Lennox Lewis left the ring with a record of 41-2-1, 32 inside the distance, former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. A few more considerations they had were Randolph Turpin, Bob Fitzsimmons, first freeweight world champion, and Ted Kid Lewis, two-time welterweight champion. Mike Tyson would have gave it to Ted Kid Lewis, I believe.
When he was good, he never won a title, not even a British title. No. Well, he went to America and did a lot of his fighting there, isn't he?
Because perhaps the money was there, and that's why he went, right, for the income.
I knew Ted Kid Lewis, I knew him quite well, because he lived to a fair old age.
Perhaps the greatest fight ever came out of here. Mm-hmm. If you really think about it, even though you have Lonigan, but you rate a fighter on his longevity. And for years, Ted Kid Lewis has been beating the greatest American fighters. For years. He's been the number one in the world for years. Not just like he won the title like 4 times, 3 times, and it's just unbelievable. And the guys he had to fight, Jack Brit and Mickey Walker, Benny Leonard, the who's who of boxing back then, the greatest of the greats, and he still prevails number one.
You see, Lewis was another of those men who went up through the weights. He was British featherweight champion in his early days.
George Carpentier. I have the featherweight fight George Carpentier.
Yeah.
Let's get voting in the poll in the description box. Who you got?
Is Moses Itauma the precocious boy wonder who can do little wrong, ducking the Cuban Frank Sanchez and IBF eliminator for Alexander Usyk's heavyweight title? There's only one way to find out with boxing, beats, and rhymes.
Duck alert, duck alert, duck alert, the alarm.
So it looks like Frank Sanchez will be fighting Richard Torres for the IBF eliminator for Alexander Usyk's heavyweight titles. In all truth, that would be the biggest heavyweight fight in America for a long time. They've really had a cooling off period over there on the heavyweight scene since the third Deontay Wilder-Tyson Fury fight, which Wilder lost. Richard Torres gets his opportunity after a Jagba, not happy with the purse split, which was won by Samson Laukowitz, who handles Sanchez. And I'm guessing, knowing this is going to be a tough fight, because Sanchez had beaten previously, he walked away to seek other opportunities. Maybe Richard Torres is getting Sanchez at the right time. Torres coming off the biggest win of his career against Guido Vianello, winning a 10-round unanimous decision. Torres, 26 years of age, is now 13-0 with 11 inside the distance, while Frank Sanchez is now 33. Some say it's a hard knock life in Cuba and that he's older. He's now 25-1 with 18 inside the distance. He's only had the one win this year against an overmatched 18-24-0 opponent who he stopped in 3. That was in January of this year. And last May he was stopped by Ajit Caballero in 7, losing his unbeaten record in devastating fashion. The body shots ground him down like Caballero has done most of his recent opponents. They've both been pretty inactive. Torres only having one fight this year, back in May. I believe the inactivity will hurt Torres more. Torres needs to do a lot of weaving to get inside, and he needs to throw a lot of punches. He's a shorter heavyweight with what I would say is a short shelf life style. He can't box Frank Sanchez at mid or long range, I don't believe. He needs to be active, Torres, to keep the momentum going with his style. I think Sanchez, who had a knee injury, it looked like, against Ajit Caballero at 33, he likes to fight at his own tempo and counterpunch. That will suit the older, more inactive fighter. Torres at 26 should be way more active, unless he's got injuries that I haven't heard about. So Moses Itauma joins Efe Ajagba in avoiding that Frank Sanchez eliminator. Now, the arguments, if Moses was ready to fight Usyk next year or maybe earlier this year and try and become the youngest heavyweight champion and beat Tyson's record, why would he not be ready to fight Frank Sanchez in this eliminator? Well, he's still ranked number 1 with the WBA and WBO, so he has other options other than the IBF. And if they're not going to fight Usyk next, they're not in no hurry to fight the likes of Frank Sanchez. Moses still only 13-0, 11 inside the distance. Frank's had twice the amount of fights and has only lost once. I always said when they mentioned this fight, this could be a very tough fight. So I'm not shocked they've opted away from it. I'm not shocked. Still no announcement on Derek or Itauma's opponents for that Manchester card on December the 13th. And they're going to put it on pay-per-view. At this moment, the fans are expecting some bang for their buck. $24.99 pay-per-views? Yeah, they need to deliver. So, it was within a 2-year period from 2007 when Jermaine Taylor, the lineal middleweight champion, was first knocked out by Kelly Pavlik in 7 rounds. 2 fights later, he was knocked out by CRAWFORD'S in the last round. Very competitive fight. Arguably, Jermaine could have been up. Then he was knocked out by Arthur Abraham in his next fight. He was diagnosed with subdural hematomas. Lou DiBella, his promoter, said he will not work with Jermaine Taylor after this. Taylor took 2 years out of the ring and then returned. And guess who promoted him for 4 fights all the way up until 2014 when he won the IBF title from Sam Solomon, which was his last fight. Lou DiBella promoted him. And Al HAYMON. Lou DiBella and the old guard of boxing promoters in America are in no position to scream foul ball on Dana White's involvement in boxing, especially when you said you wouldn't promote a fighter who had subdural hematomas, which apparently have the potential to show up on a scan, and then on another scan later down the line they may not show up. And this is how Jermaine apparently got back in the ring, and Lou promoted him after saying he wouldn't. After Jermaine won the title from Sam Solomon, he went on these psychotic rants. I won't play them because I don't want to get my channel struck. They're that bad. He posted up videos to 911. I need to get this woman out the house. Should I? She won't leave the house. Then other videos with guns, shooting the guns, screaming he'll never lose to our boy again. And it's pretty bad. Ask Lou DiBella if he's complicit in any of this, and he'll wash his hands of the whole thing. The truth is the boxing promoters who have held up boxing for how long? As Dana said, a sport that has made millions and trillions of dollars and has nothing to show for it, have literally handed Dana this platform he has. They handed it to him on a plate with their mismanagement of the sport. All this is good old-fashioned competition. That's all it is. So here's some more details from Dana and his plans in boxing. A minimum of 12 events a year on Paramount. First one is planned in January. The initial goal is to have a strong presence in the USA, similar to the UFC Contender Series, also citing Tuesday Night Fights as an inspiration. Tuesday Night Fights was good. Working to sign 400 to 450 boxers in his stable. Alright, that makes more sense. He's working towards that. Obviously, when they get anywhere near that, they're going to need more than 12 dates a year. They're working towards it. Less weight classes. That's interesting. 1 champion per division. And they will include women's boxing. And he was very braggadocious, Dana. You know, he's like a bulldog, innit? He said, you guys think small. Talking about the old guard of American promoters. And here's Lou DiBella saying, of course he's not going to work with other promoters. They're trying to create a new UFC, WWE inspired business paradigm. Not prop up a dying boxing business model and enrich existing promoters, most of whom are already middlemen crawling at the feet of Turkey. So right now, it's the Zuffa belt and Ring Magazine belt. Dana said he's going to make a new ring design. Interesting. That might not go down very well with the purists, but, you know, we'll see. As for Lou DiBella, your time's up, man. Your time is up.
Hey, yo, Stone, time's up. Time's up.